So, hi everyone. Happy to have you join us, and I know there'll be a few folks joining as we progress. As everybody knows, because they've announced it, we are recording. So, if for any reason you don't want to be here or be seen, then please, you're welcome to turn off your camera. I ask that you do put your phones on mute or your line on mute for a little bit, and you're welcome to open the line at any time to ask questions. This is to be a interactive call, as always. As it implies, it is about chatting. So I definitely want you guys to come in and excellent. I see more and more people popping in as we're talking. So today our incredible guest is Caren Glasser, who is graciously invited, is what I was about to say, agreed to come on as our co-host today to talk about how we can create a digital presence. And again, my team is on the call today, so we'll chime in when we need to support anything that's, and I know we have some pre-submitted questions, and again, raise your hand at any time, ask whatever questions you need. But with that said, I'm going to hand over the virtual mic to Caren and let her tell you more about herself. Some of you have met her, but for those who haven't, she has been incredible at interviewing our authors and having them on her show. And Janet Lynn is somebody who has joined her. So I will hand over the mic to Caren and let her say more.
Good morning, everyone. Judy, thank you for having me. Thank you to the team for having me. I am delighted to be here and to talk about getting visible digitally. And I've been doing this for a long time. I'm very proud of how old I am. I'm going to be 65 this year, and I have been live streaming. I have been in the video industry since the early 90s. And I recognized early on as a clergywoman, I'm retired at this point, but how you could bring the outside world in and what was going on in the inside out to the community. And we did that to the shut-in. So we would do services and there would be people that could not come to temple. And so we started to live stream our services, and people in the hospitals and in assisted living and retirement places could actually join in. And when I saw we could do that, I was hooked. And now we fast forward to, today, where everybody and their uncle is online. And they are, or maybe it's their mother, their father, whomever, but they're online and they are creating visibility, because I believe the more visible you become in your field, the more you are recognized as an expert in your field. If you're not visible, well, nobody knows you. And so I know I have a bunch of questions that have come in about video and about media and all that stuff. Judy, I'm not sure if you just want me to go through the list or you want people to ask the questions. I don't know. I mean, we can talk about today. I'm doing live shows. So I do a lot of different shows. I do a show called Caren Glasser Live. And that's sort of like my show that wherever I don't know where to put anybody else, that's where they go. And it's more of a people that are doing cool things around the world. And I bring them on the show and I interview them. We're right now close to 2 million views on our shows. I do a show called Once Upon a Storytime, and that's for children's authors. And those are for the authors that come in and they literally read their story online. I don't really have to be there other than the fact I introduce them and they read their stories, and that was very, very successful. And that was launched during the pandemic for those poor parents that had their kids at home and really didn't have a clue as to what they should do with them. And so we started doing that. And I have a show called The Author Spotlight, which is kind of why we're here today. And that is where I spotlight authors and give them the platform to share the book that they've written, to share the why that they've written, and to share who they are, because I believe that people buy you, not necessarily the book. They're buying you. Anything in sales, they're buying you. And I just launched a new show called Uncorked. And it's a monthly show, and that's where we go around the world, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We're drinking something. It doesn't matter what it is. We uncork something, and we go around the world. And so next week we're doing Ireland. So that's kind of what I do. My feeling is that if you can get comfortable online, if you can get comfortable in front of a camera doing exactly what you're doing right now, you can't help but be successful. And even if you feel you suck big time, as I did when I first started doing this, oh my gosh, I would get off. When I got off the first one, I went, oh God, I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm so bad. I'm so awkward. I don't look good. Oh, I look at the way my hair. When I had to get past that. And so I start my conversation with you is you have to get past all of those things because that's all in your head. Number one, you don't like the way you look on camera. Get over it. You look exactly like you look in real life. You're just not used to looking at yourself. Everybody else is looking at you saying, oh, that's you. I know who you are, right? So get over that. And then let's just start. Let's just take questions. You guys, let's just, how do you want to do this, Judy?
That's fantastic. I absolutely love what you said. I love all the different shows that you're doing. So I think I'm just looking through the questions and I don't know whether anyone on the line, I think I see Tim and Renata are here and I have a funny feeling one of these questions that we got are from them. And I think maybe even Janet Lynn submitted one of the questions. Tim and Renata, are you on the line?
I am, Judy.
Oh, hi, Renata. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Good to have you join us.
Yeah, and after what she just said, I don't have a camera on my.
Well, take your time. When you're feeling comfortable, turn it on or not.
No, I don't even have one.
Oh,
Karen.
you don't even have a camera on.
No,
Okay.
I just bought a new computer so I could get a camera because my computer is so old. I can't find a camera that works with
Got
it.
it.
But
Got it.
yeah, I did have a question and I asked about Facebook ads. And I also asked about like Instagram seems so loaded with people and I'm not sure what are you supposed to be doing on Instagram? It seems like you just get lost in the sauce.
Okay, well, let me address social media in general. Okay, I think that there are experts out there that are going to say to you, you have to be on everything. You have to be on Facebook. You have to be on Instagram. You have to be on Pinterest. You have to be on Twitter. You have to be on YouTube. I mean, really, who has that kind of time to do that? So the first thing I'm going to answer you that on Renata is maybe, do you know that you need to be on Instagram? That's the first thing. Is that where your audience is? So the first thing that we all need to do as individuals, as writers, as content creators, you have to figure out where your audience is. And the way to do that is to do some research. And so when you go to Instagram, are you seeing your peeps over there? Are you seeing the people that are looking for what you are doing? Are you engaging with them? And if you are, then Instagram might be your pillar. It might be the one that you start with. Personally, for me, Facebook is my go-to first. Everything else I cascade into YouTube, into Instagram. So specifically for Instagram, when you say, is anyone even, ask your question again, because I want to answer it very specifically. Can you ask the question again? What are you supposed to do on Instagram? Was that kind of the question?
Yeah, it feels like when you post, you're just lost. I mean, I see all of our authors, from this group, but I rarely see who is our buyers buying books, from Instagram. I don't see that. I see,
Where are you seeing them by? Tell me where you are seeing them by.
Twitter, actually.
I'm sorry, where?
Twitter.
Twitter, interesting.
Yeah.
Now that would be the last place that I would
Yep.
send somebody social media. Twitter is like going to a bar. It's like a bunch of noise, right? People are doing these 1 lines, 3 lines, and you hear, but it's moving really fast, right? The Twitter feed moves fast. And so if you are not on Twitter at that particular moment that somebody has posted something, it's gone. It's gone. So I find that fascinating that you feel that people are buying on Twitter. They might then that tells me they're hashtagging. That means that they're putting hashtags into their Twitter, their tweets, so that when people are searching for books or books about or fiction, hashtag fiction, again, you have to do research and there's lots of different ways to do that. What do you write on? Are you a fiction or nonfiction writer?
Fiction.
Fiction. That is even more confusing to me, that Twitter is a place that you see people buying stuff. But I actually think Instagram would be a better place for you. So let's just go back to Instagram for a second. When you are posting on Instagram, it's one thing to post. First of all, if you're, how many times do you
I post almost every day.
one time a day?
Yes.
Okay. Have you looked at your analytics in Instagram?
I haven't.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do after all of this is, do you know where the analytics are?
No.
Okay. No, it's okay. Cool. It's all good. So you're going to go to your Instagram account, either on your mobile or on your desktop, however you do it. You're going to click on the three little dots at the top corner, and it will say analytics. So click on that. It's going to tell you, number one, when most people are watching or looking at your posts. It'll actually give you the times.
Okay.
It probably will also tell you the demographic.
Really?
Yeah, whether it attracts male, female, where
Right. How old they are. Because, and again,
their age.
Exactly. And all of those things are important, especially if you know who your demographic is. I would encourage you strongly, if you haven't already done this, to sit down with a piece of paper and say, who am I writing for? Who is my ideal reader? Who is my client? What do they look like? How old are they? Are they a woman? Are they a man? Are they both? Do they have families? Are they double income families? All of those things, so that when you are creating hashtags for Instagram and tagging people, because Instagram is a hashtag tagging platform, then you will start getting visibility. But just posting is not enough. You need to find other people in your niche, in your actual demographic, and go follow them and go comment on what they are posting. And if somebody does comment on your post, you need to respond back, hopefully with a question. Because what are you trying to do? Engage. You want to create a conversation. You want them to come back. Because exactly to your question, how do you get people to respond? Is anybody even awake over there? Right?
Yeah.
And again, if you know what time your people are there, that's number one. And that's really important, because that's when you want to post, right? You want to post when they're actually there.
Right.
The other thing that you want to do is decide where the other platforms are. So I would not just stick to one platform. But I am not the person who's going to say you got to be on everything. I think that's crazy making.
Yeah,
Completely crazy making.
Yep.
Now, that being said, I post on everything. But I've been doing this a long time, and I don't post on everything the same thing, and I don't post on the same day, and I do something called cascading, which means that I go to my first platform that is really my platform. And as I said, Facebook was mine. If Instagram is yours, you go to Instagram first. Then 1 week later, plus 4 hours. I say that because it becomes either morning and then afternoon, or afternoon and evening, a different time. What we do know about people on social media is they scroll. Do you scroll on social media?
Yes.
Okay. So people are just like you, right? So when they're scrolling and then they get bored and they get tired, okay, I'm done with that. What do? They go to another social media platform. Think about yourself. Think about what you do when you spend time on social media. They go somewhere else. So you want to make sure that your content is cascading into other platforms, but not all on the same day and at the same time. Because again, they're going to miss it. So if Instagram is your first, do that. And then a week and several hours later, go over to your next platform. Pinterest, I believe, is a great platform for authors. You might say, that's really bizarre. Why would you say that? Well, because first of all, Pinterest is very female oriented. And again, depending on what kind of books you're writing, if it has a bend towards readers and women, you want to be over there. But Pinterest allows you to create images and then links to send them over to buy your book.
Okay.
And you can do something called a carousel. And I know you didn't ask about Pinterest, but I'm a strong believer that Pinterest is a very underrated platform, and it's something that you really should explore. So you would upload a picture of your book. Let's say you would have a little description, put some hashtags in there, and then a link to your Amazon link or wherever you're selling your book. Put a second picture in the carousel that might be something different. So for instance, on my shows, Janet Lynn will know this. If she goes and looks at Pinterest, her show was there, And then the carousel took them to her book with
Mhm.
a direct call to action. So that's my next thing that I want to say to you. It is very important. This is for everybody. The biggest challenge that I think people have is they go out and put content out there and have no call to actions. You know what a call to action is?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing I see all the time.
What that means is you're not telling them what to do next. And guess what, guys? If you don't tell them what to do next, they're going to do absolutely nothing. Scroll next. If you tell them what to do, guess what? There's
Or
a
ask a
good chance
question.
they're going to do it, or ask a question. So call to actions can be questions like, what do you think about that? Tell me, give me a yes or a no, or what problem are you looking at? Whatever it is. Or you can say,
Or do you agree or
do
disagree?
you
That's
agree?
what-
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Or you can say, check out the show, check out my book, link is in the profile. This is the next thing you need to know about Instagram. And this is really important because I see so many people do this. You're putting links into your descriptions of your posts. Guess what? Those are not hyperlinkable. You can't click them.
No, you
So it
can't.
does, it's ridiculous. I mean, sometimes I see links that are literally this long and you can't click on it. So you're literally telling your reader they
Type
have
it
to
in.
go and write it down.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because you can't select it. Instagram is a very interesting duck. You can't select it, you can't click on it, you can't do anything.
No.
So, link in profile. Another thing you might want to check into is Linktree, Link
Yeah.
tree. And the reason it's free, you go in there and you add all of your social media, maybe your book, maybe a video. I mean, it's amazing and it's free. And you put that link instead of your website in your Instagram profile. And when you say link in profile, they click on it. You can update it anytime, as many times as you want, and boom. So that's how you get visible.
Okay.
Now, and you say, and I'm gonna one more thing. Instagram. There are posts, there are stories, there are IGTV, and now there are reels. You guys are aware of that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Different things, completely different. Some things might work, like for instance, I do post in IGTV. I'm not a Reels girl. It doesn't resonate with me. And my demographic is not watching Reels. They're not. But they are looking at posts and they are looking at stories. So figure out which one you want to do. Again, analytics. Numbers are your friend. If you do not know who is looking at you, who they are, you're never going to reach them.
It's a shame
Analytics.
that Amazon doesn't offer that.
Analytics?
Well, it doesn't offer demographics.
No, but it does tell you how many clicks you're getting, and it does tell you the percentage of people that clicked a link that bought. And it also tells you if they clicked a link. Now, if you're, do we have any Amazon affiliates here on the call?
Not affiliates, no.
Okay, so if I
Except
may.
I don't know whether, yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to go down that
Okay,
road.
let's not
right
go
now.
down that road. Okay, so,
yeah.
but there are analytics there is what the point was. There are analytics there, but not as a regular, I wrote a book and I don't see on Amazon who's clicking on it.
Mm.
That's different.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you,
exactly.
Caren. I'm going to, I think I need to rethink this.
And Renata, reach out. Talita's on the team, and I don't think you met her before, but she's
No.
our social media gal. So, we can set up a call with you, no problem at all.
Okay, thank you, Judy.
Yeah, because then when we go, Talita is incredible. She's in a short time, she's taught me an awful lot about social media. I didn't even know that they had started doing the reels. So it's
Mhm.
like, what the heck is that about?
It's their answer. It's
What
their
more?
response to TikTok.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And she got us on TikTok, which I'm blown away.
Oh, it's crazy. If that's your thing, it's a blast. It's totally a blast.
Yeah, exactly. But she'd be happy to get on a call. Absolutely. So you said you had another question, Renata, about.
Well, I see people doing Facebook ads, and I've done several of them, and I didn't find them they weren't successful. And
Define success, Renata. Define success. What were you trying? What was your hope to accomplish with a Facebook ad?
sell more books.
Sell more books. Okay, and so that means that if we have some, how did you do that? You had a picture of a book.
I read a little ebook on Facebook ads, and I followed what they said. So yes, I had a picture, and I'm sure that probably nobody here saw the ad. I don't know, like, I don't know if anybody saw the ad, and I didn't get any sales from it, but I do see people all the time that I know are doing sponsored ads. I just
Yeah.
wonder if you need to do a lot of them.
Again, depending on what what your goal is. So I do boosts. I don't do ads. I do boosts, and it's a slightly different thing.
Yeah.
But I do boosts because my goal is not to necessarily sell a book, even though my authors are on the show, and ultimately we would like them to buy a book. My goal is to get views, because the more eyeballs that I get on my shows, I can sit here and say to you, I'm close to 2 million views on my shows, and people go, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, it's advertising. But they're called boosts on Facebook. And let me just put something out there. Facebook is constantly changing, so what's working today will probably not work tomorrow.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
what's working tomorrow may not even work tomorrow. I mean, it's literally, it's a constant battle, because Facebook is, they own us. And so don't put all your eggs into one basket, because if Facebook decides they want to shut your ad account down, if Facebook decides, which they do, and if Facebook wants to shut your page down, which they do, I mean, I'm seeing horror stories right now if they want to lock you out of your account. And I don't want to put the horror story on you, but I want you to be aware that if you put all of your eggs into the Facebook, or all of your eggs into Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, or all of your eggs into YouTube, you don't own any of those platforms. All it takes is them to say, we're going to shut you down.
Wow.
So make sure you put your content somewhere that you own, like all of your videos, put them in a Vimeo account, or put them in a Google Drive, which is free, so that you own them. If somebody pulls you down, they're gone. And that's frightening. That frightens me, like, to no end.
Now, Talita, you're running ads now, and I love the question, Renata, because I have been through many different people working with me. I've done it myself, and I've seen successes and I've seen massive failures, but a lot of money going to tube, as I learned. And what I found was the best solution: find someone who knows what they're doing.
Okay.
You will spend a lot of money not getting any results at all. And again, I want Talita to jump in here, because whatever she's doing, I've been getting inquiries about Hasmark more now than I have in 10 years.
Wow.
10 years.
So Talita, spill.
Yeah, come on, share your secret, Talita. Maybe not. No, I'm kidding.
Facebook.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Renata.
Hi, Talita.
Facebook ads have a little like things you have to do. It's not so easy to do, because if you put only the link for Amazon, maybe this is not gonna work. And the key is you have to have your own website, put your book at this website with the link like together for the Amazon.
Right.
You have to,
so the Amazon link needs to live on your website.
yeah. And at your website, you have to put some pixels. It's kind of a thing you can put at your website to know your target audience. The key of the Facebook is this: the Facebook can know what your perfect client or customers. And this is what I'm doing for Hasmark. We try to understand what the person likes. It's what Caren was talking about. What they eat, what they
read,
read, where are these people. And after, the Facebook can made like a line for your perfect customers. It's not so easy to explain to you in short minutes, but we can schedule another meeting, and I can help you and try to explain.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Talita.
Because to your point, Talita, is that once you start to get, so what you got to do is you start investigating, and sooner or later, Facebook is going to help you to define who your perfect audience is. It's
Perfect.
going to define demographic, age, all that good stuff that goes.
Yes. And after this,
There's work.
yeah, we have to understand the post. Like we made one post this week. Maybe this same post will not work next week. And we have to change everything,
exactly.
colors, letter, everything.
Okay.
And we have
Text.
to test every
Testing. You're testing.
Yeah,
You're beta testing
testing.
everything. A/B
Yep.
testing.
Yeah, that's the A/B testing. They talk
Got
a
it.
lot about that. That's a
Okay.
whole other new term.
But it's an art. Would you agree, Toledo? This is an art, not necessarily a science. You have to really take a look at what your numbers are and say, okay, that's working. We'll do more of that. Oh, that's not working. We're not going to do more of that. We have to continue that way. But it's knowing your demographic. It's knowing who they are. I have found that no matter how we advertise, I have a big following in Italy. We don't know why exactly, but I can tell you the percentage of men versus women. I can tell you which county, or they're not counties, but which cities in Italy for whatever reason. So I can tell you that. And it's also the way I keyworded it. So if I'm doing a particular topic, when I was promoting a Janet Lynn's show, I would put particular keywords into my boosts and my ads for her show so that people that were looking for her, not and specifically Janet Lynn, but also the topic of the book and all those things, that it would show up in their feed. So we're not, when you said I didn't see, I'm not seeing no, did you even see my ad? It depends on who you were targeting. If nobody sitting in this room is in your demographic, they're not going to see it. Because Facebook is literally going to only, on Toledo, I'm sure you're going to say this, they're only going to show it to those people that are in that bubble, that pocket that you have identified as your demographic. If you didn't identify it, they're probably not going to see it.
Got you.
It's, for example, I like Kathleen. It's an author. Yeah, I like one post from her, and now every sponsor she have, it's I always sing. That's it. The
just took one. That's it.
Yeah. That's it.
And notice that though, because it's about attracting that attention, and all it is the first motion that someone takes is the algorithms that are going on cause that to keep repeating. Because you're right. If I followed Kathleen Cameron, and I'll do things like that. Like I clicked on Blake Shelton. Now I get every country person that's on. All of them end up in my feeds.
Right.
And that's how it works. So
it's called retargeting. So the way this all works out in the social media marketing world is that whether we like it or not, they're watching. They see what we're clicking on.
Oh, absolutely.
They see what we're stopping on, not even clicking on. If you pause in your Facebook as you're looking at
because you're reading it,
they literally, it's whether it's a view or reach. So those are the numbers that you're looking at when you do advertising, when you're doing boosts. What was your reach and what were your views? Two different things completely. And a view can be as less than 3 seconds. I mean, so there's so many things here. But again, you want to know who you're talking to. That's probably the bottom line. You need to know who you're talking to. Otherwise, they're not going to hear you.
Yeah, perfect. So again, Renata, please reach out. We're happy to get on a call. No
Okay,
problem.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question about websites. And the reason I bring this up is because Toledo just touched on a little bit how your website really carries the link to your Amazon where your book is being sold, because we're talking to authors or whatever else you're selling. But in sort of historically, online presence always meant website.
Not
And
anymore.
I haven't even really touched on that.
I don't think it
Years
does.
ago.
I don't think anymore. I don't think it means anymore with everything that's going on, everything other than website. There are so many with Clubhouse. I mean, Amazon Live. I mean, I'm an Amazon influencer live. I haven't gotten on there yet, only because I'm not sure it's my demographic, people that are in that. So I'm very careful about that. But there are so many places that you don't have to have a website anymore. You just maybe a landing page.
Yeah.
And there are a difference between a landing page and a website, even though it can have a domain attached to it. Domain like CarenGlasser.com is my domain. It does take them to a website. But I also have a landing page just for my live shows, CarenGlasser.live, and it goes straight to that landing page. So I would I would not absolutely say that you have to have a website, but you have to have a web presence. You have to have a landing page, or I know people that use their Facebook, and I don't agree with that, but they use their Facebook page as their website. I don't agree with that for the same reason I said a little bit ago. If they shut you down, you just lost your website.
Right.
That's why I like where the discussion came up about don't direct them to Amazon. Direct everything you should do. You should try and direct people to your website or landing page. I don't care what it is.
Right.
Direct them there, because if Facebook goes down, if Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, any of those, YouTube go down,
Right.
you've been directing that, especially when you're doing it in your book, in the back of your book, or you're doing an interview.
Right.
The one thing you have control over 99% of the time, because there are things that go wrong, is your website or your sales page.
Right.
You do not,
Exactly.
just what you said. I confirm. I've heard Peggy talk about that the whole time I've been listening to this whole online presence.
Yeah.
Be careful about social media. Although what was really funny is several years ago, I was told to build your newsletter list. That's the gospel of the business. It is far from the gospel of what we should be doing today, because no one hardly is doing newsletters anymore.
Right. I mean, used to hear the money's in the list. That used to be what I heard back in the money's in the list. If you don't have a list, how are you going to market? So
you have no control.
You have no control. I mean, look, I have a list that's over 10,000, but if I'm being totally honest, my open rate is terrible.
Correct.
Terrible. So who cares if I have a list of 10?
You could have 10,000, 100,000, a million.
I'd rather have 100 active, engaged people. And is a newsletter for you? It might be, it might not be. Is a series of emails, a funnel of emails, meaning that you have a list of a series of emails that happen after somebody opts in. I call it the ethical bribe. And one of the questions somebody had asked, and maybe we'll get into that, was, how do you make sure that what you're doing visibly, digitally, how does it get shown? How does it people? And so an email could work really well if you send that video out, or you send that whatever you were on. So, I mean, there's a place for everything. But again, going back to the foundation, who are you selling to? Who is your end reader, end user, and everything? If your end user is not a newsletter reader, then you should not be doing newsletters. It just doesn't make sense. If your end viewer loves YouTube, then that's where you put your energy and your time into. Again, know who you're talking to.
Right.
Caren, what's your dog's name?
This is Annie. This is my shepherd. Actually, my other one, I have a Dorky, who is a cross between a Dachshund and a Yorkie, and he's about this big, and I kept him outside because he was running around like an idiot. But his name is Christopher. So I have my dogs. I have show dogs. They sit in my stage when I'm doing my shows. My show dogs.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. But I love this discussion about because the world has changed a lot.
Drastically.
And just to conclude on the newsletter side, I find newsletters are good for warm or hot only leads. And what I mean by that, if they know, I'm looking at Ursula and I see Destiny Coach. Peggy's newsletter, she only uses it for the people who are already in her group.
There you go.
You do not use it to get leads. Today, the open rate on that will drive it'll cost, in the cost of it's just not worth it.
Right.
It's good for warm and hot leads. That's it. And people
Giving them exactly what they're asking for.
Yes.
And then a little bit more,
try
because
and
sometimes they don't know exactly what they're asking for. And I'm sure Ursula would say the same thing. They come to you for one thing, and maybe they didn't know that there was something else that would be, and you would know, because that's what you do. And then you drip it out. It's called dripping. You're dripping out the content.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's talk a little bit about interviews and because I'd love to know more about that, because just what you said is that a lot of us are shy or timid about getting on camera. I have a couple of people on my team that are a little bit shy. Yeah, Aisha, I'm talking about you. although she's incredible. She's
I
always
see
on
what you're
camera.
doing.
So we do have a lot of authors that show up who are very nervous. And one of the things we do is we have a private group where we invite them to go live.
Awesome.
And that actually helps to get, like Mark Wilkinson, he's been an author of ours for about a year now. And
That's awesome.
I'll never forget his first time he went live, and he was so nervous and he didn't think he had anything to talk about. And here he is doing now StreamYard. He was 5 days a week.
Mhm.
He's backed that off a bit because that was a little excessive. And he's doing live DJing on Saturday evenings.
Right.
But I'm curious about, how do we get so that our interviews are effective and people take action? By far, the most important thing you said, as far as what we should be thinking about, is getting people to take action. In interviews, I find people don't even do that. You almost, I'm sure you found it, you almost have to pull it out of an author.
Well, it's interesting, and Janet Lynn has been on the show. One of the things that I strive to do on my show is that my first job is to make the author comfortable, for the very reason that you're saying. I would say 50%, maybe 75% of the authors that come on have never been on camera.
Yeah.
And they're like a deer in the headlight. And you can see the energy. They're like, and so my job, and I see my only job, is to make the author comfortable so that they'll just it will flow. They'll just talk, and they'll do. So to answer specifically the question, how do you do this, and what do you do with this? The biggest challenge that I have is that people go out and they do interviews with me, with whomever. They do these interviews, whether it's a video or an audio, a podcast, and then they don't do anything with it. They themselves don't do anything with it. They think that it's like manna from God, that something's going to happen with that interview that they did nothing with other than what I did with it. Now, my audience, it's great because for me, I'm giving fresh content all the time. But for a lot of people, you as an author, if you don't share it with your network, if you don't share it with people that you're trying to maybe get a speaking job with, if you don't share it on your landing page, your website, if you don't share it, why bother doing the interview? It makes no sense to me. So you have to have a goal in mind with number one, and it could be just selling your book, but getting and doing an interview and selling your book is not enough of a reason. You have to do something with that interview so that you can sell your book. And to your point, Judy, so what I do is I know that the author is going to be uncomfortable saying, here, buy my book. I know that.
Yeah.
So what I do is I say, buy Janet Lynn's book. Here it is. Here's a picture of it. There's a link in the comment. Don't go now, but after the show, make sure you go click on the link. And whether you're here live or on replay, because here's the other thing. Whether you're doing a live show or a recorded show, you're going to have people popping in at all different times. Again, if you're sharing it, if you're not sharing it. So make sure that when you talk to your person who's interviewing you, can I get and this is a geek talk now, can I get the embed code? Now, what that means to the person that's doing the show with you is that you're asking them, can I put this actual show on my website so it lives there? Not meaning that I'm going to give you a link and they have to go somewhere else to watch it. Can you give me the embed code? And when they go then to your site, they can click on it, and there you are. There you're being interviewed. You can send that interview to a prospect, to, let's say, a bookstore. I saw there was a question about doing brick and mortar retailers. So let's merge the two now. If you want to be going to bookstores to talk about your book, you have to show that people are really interested in your book. Otherwise, there's no reason to have you come in and do a book reading or a book signing if nobody knows who you are. The only people you're going to attract is the people that are coming into the bookstore themselves. You have to give the bookstore a reason to have you, and that is to bring people in that they normally didn't reach or they didn't touch.
Absolutely.
And the only reason they're going to bring you in is if you can show them that you are somebody that people want to get to know. And the only way you can do that is to have digital content that you can send to them that shows you doing an interview so they can see what you look like. And again, back to get over it. You look exactly what you look like. So they can actually see you doing an interview or being on a camera. If you don't have the option of being on an interview, get in front of a camera. And to answer the question, what types of videos should I create about myself and my books? Because this all goes hand in hand. It could be anything. It could be why you decided to write a book. Again, they're buying you as much as they're buying the book.
Absolutely.
What started, why did you write this book? What I like to say to normally to entrepreneurs and book owners or small business owners is think about those questions that people always ask you about what you do. So if you're a writer, what are the questions they ask you? What kind of writing process? Did you have writer's block? Did you, how long did it take you to write this book? Do short little videos about those things.
Yeah.
It sounds so easy because it really is. And if you don't have a YouTube channel, get one. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube channel. You just have to go in there. Upload these short little videos, put them in what we call a playlist. And I teach this all in my program, Calling All Authors. But basically, put them in a playlist. And now, if you are out looking to be on a podcast, and what, Judy, I'm going to send you a link to something. It's called the podcast something. People that are looking for guests, just like you.
Wow. That would be awesome.
And again, you can apply to be on their show. But the first thing they're going to say is, what are you talking about? What's your topic? What are you going to do? So if you can show them that you've been on an interview or 2 or 3 or a podcast, or you've written a blog, something digitally, you have a really good chance. And there are people out there looking for people just like each and every one of our people on the show today and off the show today. Again, back to your demographic, who you're talking to, what are you writing about, who is even interested in the first place. So I'll give you that link, and I'm not
Awesome.
prepared right now.
Thank
I can
you.
go look for it,
That's
but
okay.
you want to, this is great. And it's, again, you have to have something to show them to give them a reason to have you on the show. And
exactly.
I mean, I'm in a circle now. It's
Yeah.
always going to be the same thing. You want to create the content and you want to do something with it so that people ultimately can go buy your book. That's the end game. That's the end game.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing more than I ever heard before is don't send books. Don't send your physical book to people anymore. It's more about sending like media pitch as opposed to
Right.
a
Nobody's going to
media.
read it. Nobody's going to read your book.
Old
Sorry.
press releases are long text driven documents.
Yeah.
I even heard those are not even read anymore. So we've created these media pitches now, which are more graphic
Right.
and then I understand if they request your book digitally.
Yeah, and that's and normally when they're doing that is it as an interviewer myself is so that I can get a sense of there you go. There you go. Exactly. And digitally, and you have that digitally, so you can just email it off. And what's cool, and just to touch on that, what's cool about digital is that you can embed a video in anything. So if you send them a digital PDF, like of your one sheet, your author one sheet, put the video in your one sheet.
She can put, what's beautiful is Janet Lynn has the augmented reality.
Oh yeah, and what you guys are doing on augmented reality, you are so ahead of the curve that I got chills when I saw you were doing that because I dabbled in that. Awesome, because it's engaging. It makes people want to get into the book. It makes you want to jump in. It's awesome.
Exactly. But what you said is, you're saying lots of important things, but one thing I don't think authors understand is it's about them. It's about them as the author. People want to get to know you, the author. Even branding, it's all about you, not just about your book.
Exactly. Let me give you an example about that. I interviewed somebody who's an American football player. He was at the AFL and the CFL. His name is CJ Johnson, but his nickname was, wait for it, Poop. And the reason why his nickname is Poop is that he's a very large guy, very large black guy who played football, and he just ate and ate and ate and ate and ate, always eating. And somebody interviewed him and said, how do you eat so much and still function? He goes, well, I poop a lot. And because of that, he got the nickname. He came on he wrote a book. And again, this is connected to about him. He knew as much as he hated the fact people were calling him Poop, he realized it was a brand. And so he wrote a children's book called Poopy Stew. And it's about toilet training. He does not have children at all, but he capitalized on the brand. He came on the show, and because people wanted to know who this guy was that wrote this book called poopy stew. They're buying him.
Yes,
And oh, by the way, this is a
exactly.
cute book.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go buy the
By
book.
the way, it's true. That's why the
It's so
movie
true.
stars, the famous names, they sell off the shelf. We aren't buying because we think that we know whether the content's good or bad. We don't care.
Right.
It's
Mark Wilkinson is a
written
perfect
by,
example. Mark
yeah,
Wilkinson is a perfect example as well.
yeah. I remember when we interviewed him to bring him into Hasmark. And as soon as I heard he was a DJ,
Yep.
I thought to myself, oh my goodness, people are going to want to know your story and the fact that it's about your life
Right.
and how people also love the bad news.
Yep.
But they want to know one thing we got taught really, really early on. You must be victorious before you can tell the bad.
Right.
So Mark can't come out. He would, if he was that guy that couldn't walk, that was completely broke, and he was trying to bring his book to the world, it wouldn't make it.
Wouldn't work.
But
was
the fact that
victorious.
he's victorious and he's had the career that he's had, people want to know, how did he do it? The success and the failure and back to success again. It's okay that you failed, but you got up.
Does that make sense to the authors that are on today, that they're buying you? Yes, they want your book, and ultimately they're going to read your books. And when you come out with more and more and more and more, they're going to be looking for those books. But the first time they bought it was because of you.
Yeah.
And so your personality. So how do you get on? Somebody asked a question, I think Nancy, about makeup. What do you do? First of all, I am a no frills interviewer. Again, I've been doing this a lot of years, and there's different schools of thought on this. I don't edit my shows. I sit in my office just like this. There are some people that would say my head disappears into the wall because I have white hair. So I know that's something that's a challenge, but actually I make a joke about it. And so that becomes part of my persona, is that my head has disappeared in the wall. But as far as makeup, just know that cameras wash you out. So the only difference is that you do look like yourself. But you look like a washed out version of yourself if you are not wearing makeup. I don't generally wear makeup in real life. It's just, I'm a natural girl, but I do put lipstick on when I get on a camera, because otherwise I'm completely washed out. I might put on some eye makeup, but very little, because that's me. Do what makes you comfortable. Don't try to be anybody else, but do highlight. If you wear glasses, make sure your eyes, because they're behind the glasses. So you want to make sure that your eyes maybe has some mascara on it. I know I'm being very specific now, but the point is, I don't get caught up in makeup, except for don't disappear into your screen. Don't disappear, because the lighting, it's more important to have good lighting. It's more important to have a decent background that's not distracting from what you're doing. Mine is a very clean background. I have an office background. People call this more of an office set. There are people that use green screens. And where you can take a green background and you put a green screen. Zoom has the ability, if you're just going to record on Zoom, go in there and you can use their backgrounds. They have backgrounds right here on Zoom, and you can do a green screen. So if you don't like what it looks like in the back of your house, let's talk about that for a second. Do not record videos in a place that's showing things that have nothing to do. I've seen people do videos in their bathroom. I've seen people doing videos with a mirror behind them and you're seeing the reflection. Don't do that. If you're in your don't do it in your kitchen and show your refrigerator behind you, unless you're a cooking show. And that makes sense. Be aware what's behind you. Don't distract. Don't have too many things going on, unless you're a children's author. And then maybe you do want to have a lot of things going on in the background, because kids they have that kind of thing going on. So, I mean, there's so many different things that I don't want to throw up all over you and fire hose on you about this. So think specifically about, what we're talking about, those nuggets, and say, how does this pertain to me per se, right? How does this work for me? Okay, somebody asked the question, content attitude attracts the highest numbers viewers of the shows. What kind of viewers are they, and what is the most effective way of keeping it? So analytics, numbers on every single platform. You can go and see who's, what age they are, all of that stuff. Just be aware of that. What kind of attitude? With a smile on your face. Janet Lynn will tell you I said the most important thing is, I tell all my authors, smile, enjoy yourself. Because if you're sitting there with a sourpuss face and you are not talking to your audience, they're going to tune out faster than you can say, I'm gone. So talk to your audience, know who your audience is. Back to the demographic. If you don't know who your audience is, how are you going to talk to them? My audience are people that are old, like me. You know, they're like 50 and older, right? Not necessarily gray-haired women, but older people that have certain things that they're looking for. So that's who I'm talking to. My shows, other than my author shows, because my author shows are completely different. They are really standalone shows, and I'm there to do the visibility. When I'm doing my regular shows, I only are bringing up topics that are entertaining. I've had magicians on. I've had musicians on who sing. I've had cooks on, chefs on who cook. So that's my kind of show. I know who my target is. Do you? And then do a show for that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I want to go back for 1 second about what you said about sharing. By far, the biggest thing I see in this business is the analytics between a post shared. I'm a big Facebook person like you are, Caren, and the posts between that are shared compared to the posts that are there and that someone just likes. Because we, of course, share all the videos on our
Right.
Facebook posts. When an author comes along, and even if we tag them, if they take that post and they share it, it has triple, if not quadruple, the
Yeah.
views that it would normally have. Like, it's off the charts, the difference between them just sharing it, and they could have a small audience. They may
Right.
not have 4,000 people like we have.
It's called leverage. You want to leverage other people's backyard. So when I don't understand when somebody will come on my show and then not leverage me, it makes no sense.
Yeah, because that's why we're there.
Don't you want a piece of my 2 million views?
Yeah.
I would think. And the only way you can really get a piece other than me just doing my thing is to share the show that you just did with me. That makes it a win-win.
Correct.
You do that, I win. And when you do that, you win. So totally, Judy. It multiplies by thousands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thousands.
Seen it.
And when people engage on your post, not just like it, but make a comment, I'll say it again, respond to their comment. And if you can figure out a way to ask them a question so that they have to answer you and respond back, boom, you got a conversation.
Now you've got engagement, and that's perfect.
And that's what
exactly-
Facebook's, by the way, that's what Facebook's looking for. Right now, they are saying that likes, so this is the new thing right now in Toledo. I think you probably have heard this. Likes are going down in the, that's the
Algorithms.
algorithm on Facebook is not looking for how many likes you have. In fact, some of the platforms, I think Instagram is now taking, you can't even see how many likes some posts are getting. But they are looking for engagement. And not just engagement by a heart, somebody puts a heart or a happy face or a smiley face, but they made a comment and you commented back. That's what's coming up in the algorithms, not just that somebody quickly went, I liked it. So you want to get them to take action, whether it's a question in your description, whether it's a question in your video, whether it's a question on the post. And the other thing that I encourage you to do is on your picture, because part of the algorithms across all platforms is they can see they literally see the words on pictures, the words in your title, the words in your description, specifically on YouTube. And so when Google is looking to rise it up in the search engine, when somebody's looking for you, make sure your picture has the keyword in it somewhere. Make sure the title has the keyword in it somewhere. Make sure the description has the keyword in it somewhere, because these are all the things. Video shows up first in search. If you search, you know that you're searching Google for the most part. Most people search on Google. Google owns YouTube. Video shows up first in Google searches. Guess what kind of video shows up first in Google searches? YouTube, because they own them. So
Makes sense.
excuse me, my dog needs to come in. my my okay, make sure that if you're going to do a video, put it into YouTube. Make sure your picture has a word in it. Make sure your description, so that when people are searching for it, it shows up. Just test it. You're going to see. You will absolutely see that video is going to show up first, and if it's a YouTube video, that will show up at the top.
Exactly. Now to that point about videos, now what is there a certain type that draws more attention? Is there one, like one of the questions was about doing a funny video?
Oh yeah. So I do two kinds of videos. I do my live shows, which are long form. And again, long form for me is 20 minutes. I like to say if I've got the attention span of a flea, I'm normally bored by them. By that point, I don't care how interesting my guest is. I'm done. So we do a 20-minute. But the other kind of video that you can do, and these are the short ones, the short form videos, 3 to 5 minutes. And those are the videos that are pull videos. A pull video is you're pulling people in to whatever that thing is. So it can be funny. So let's say, again, it's hard to make up something, but being vulnerable, just do something vulnerable. Give me a topic so I'm trying to think of an example that I can give you. When I did my, I'm all old people, right? Savoring midlife. So I do these short little videos. What I do, and they're funny and they're not. So what do midlife women fear most about aging? And so that's an example. That was a 4-minute video. That video first had a picture that was bright, all pops of colors. It said midlife, it said fears, and it said aging. That's all it said on the picture, and a picture of me. Then we got into the video itself. The description had aging fears, and in the title it had aging fears. That video within 4 hours racked in 100 views the minute I uploaded it. My regular videos that I upload, my long videos, it takes way longer than that to get to that, because people have the attention span of a flea. So if you can do something really quick, a quick little video that you just throw up, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it. If you are waiting for something to be perfect, you will never do it. And I think that is tip number, whatever tip we're on. Do it. Don't get caught up until you have to be perfect. Oh, I don't like the way that looked. Just do it. Put it out there. People like vulnerability. They like to see, again, they're buying you. They like to see the real you, not just somebody that you took so much time to be perfect and sat there in front of your camera and did something. I move a lot when I talk. It's clear when I do my videos, I move a lot. I talk with my hands. You've seen it, right? I'll make a joke about that. I say, oh my God, I'm talking with my hands again, and I got to sit on them. And I'll do something like that because that's kind of a funny thing about me. So yes, absolutely. If you can, but if funny's not your thing, then just pick a little snippet of something and do a short little video and use that to grab people. Those are pull videos, and you can do a gazillion. A push video are your long form videos. A push video is content that you're pushing out, not necessarily to pull an opt-in or a follower on your channel or wherever. You're simply it's content. Maybe you're pushing it out to a blog post. You're pushing it out to social media. A pull video are those things to grab them in so that they are looking for your content. Understand the difference between the two? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And by far, again, the most important isn't about the quality necessarily as the call to action or the engagement. By far.
Exactly.
Just what you said is you're human when you're vulnerable. One of the best things that will come out of COVID, if there's anything you can look at, is that we do like real. We like people, like the news all went home. Like we're still home. In Toronto, we're all still under a state of emergency. We're all from home. Our newscasters are coming from their own homes, their own backyards. Yeah. They're real now. They're not in this studio anymore. Yes, they got their hair done, their makeup, but they're in live, at their homes and stuff. So,
but viewers are also looking for more than just the sound bites. So I encourage you not to just do a sound bite of 2 sentences and then go. You want to let people get enough of something. My son is the managing editor of NBCLX, which is a new platform that opened back with NBC Universal back in the summertime. And they deep dive. So what they do is they do 10 to 15 minute segments on topics, because a lot of us are tired of hearing those sound bites that we're only getting what the media wanted us to hear, the one-liner. And that's all we know. And how many people do you know that they're quoting those one-liners and that they now think they know the whole story because that was the one line that they heard? And I think media is changing. What we know as media, that word, the media, is changing. It's not traditional like we all know now, where you can go to your television, turn on CBS, NBC. I don't know in Canada, you guys you have different channels. I don't know.
Yeah, we have.
But that's traditional media, rather than going to, like, my shows are on Roku and my shows are on Amazon Fire. Why? Because I happen to know that my target audience does not scroll on YouTube. They'd rather sit on their couch, right? And watch TV. So know where your audience is and produce for that audience.
Fantastic. I see we're at the top of the hour, so I want to open the floor in case there's any questions that anyone has while we have Caren here. So, because it's been incredible. I know I am always incredibly not relieved, but incredibly surprised by the amount of things that I constantly learn.
Yeah.
I love that about having guests on here and having your knowledge here, because it's like there's this deep, dark secret to how all of this comes about. How do we draw attention? And it's a lot simpler than we realize. It's about showing up.
So Judy, I searched and quit. How does an author get onto my Spotlight show? So we encourage you, and Judy, you have a link for that if you want to.
Correct.
And Judy will send that out. There's a link that you can click on. What it basically is, it gives you my entire program on how to get noticed using YouTube specifically, but it can be used for almost anything, and how to get on the show. Okay, so that's the answer to that. Nancy, I'm sorry you're overwhelmed. I encourage you, you know what, this is what I want Nancy to do. You're overwhelmed. I want you to go to connectwithcaren.com, set up time with me, and we'll just do a deep dive, you and I, okay? Well, and that's for anybody. You guys just want to do a quick little deep dive with me, go to connectwithcaren.com. And again, I use
Caren with a C. Notice
Caren
her
with a
spell.
C. Yeah, C-A-R-E, connectwithcaren.com. It'll take you to my calendar. Click on virtual coffee, and we'll do a virtual coffee. We'll just sit down and we'll chat, and I can talk specifically to what you're doing, what your book is about, who you're talking to, and all that stuff, and give you some tips.
Yeah, just let anybody who's here, just let them know that you're coming from us, so that, you know, Caren makes special arrangements from you.
Yeah, totally.
Random. Yeah, just as opposed, because she'll take extra care.
I will take very extra.
I know you've been incredible, and I know you've hosted a lot of our authors on your show, which is fantastic.
I have, and one last thing, what I consider is the content that we do is evergreen. The word evergreen means that it lives forever. And book content, a book that has been on an interview, an author, is evergreen, because that's not going to change. There are things that are not evergreen, but somebody who has written a book and is on an interview show that is talking about that book, that's an evergreen piece of content. And that is what I believe you guys should all be doing, is evergreen pieces of content that can work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year while you're sleeping. And it can just do what it's supposed to do. So if you have a YouTube video, make sure in your call to actions, not only you telling them what to do, but tell them to go subscribe to your channel, or tell them to go pick up a copy of your book. With the and again, I'm just giving you all this stuff. Sorry. HTTP, you may have to make sure it's the full link when you put it in YouTube. Otherwise, it is not clickable. So make sure when you put a link into your YouTube description, make it HTTP, you know, the whole link. And that way, right from your YouTube channel, if you say, make sure you check down below to find out more, tell them to do that. They'll click on it, take them over to your website, or take them over to the book, or take them over to your Instagram, or all you have to do is go take a look at my YouTube channel, search for Caren Glasser, go look at any one of my videos, and you will see my descriptions. It's like, it's a candy store for me, because it's like, oh, okay, I've told them everything about me. They can now decide where they want to go next.
Absolutely. And one of the things that you just reminded us of is that if the interview has already been shared once, we're scrolling. It's gone like in a
Put it on
minute.
autopilot. Put it on
Yeah.
autopilot. I use, yeah,
Exactly.
put it on
Because
my,
like you said,
yeah.
it's evergreen, means it's repeatable because the content doesn't get old.
And again, Janet Lynn's show is being sent out probably every 3 months. It goes into rotation. That's what I do for my authors. That's what I do for my show guests.
Yay.
But again, that's what I do on my end. I am encouraging the authors on their end to do the same thing.
Same thing.
Because that is a great way to leverage my audience. It's a great way to leverage for me then to get the juice off of your audience. So the next time I post on it, and then tag me in it, for God's sake.
Tag us in
Yeah,
it.
tag Hasmark, and
Tag,
you'll notice
tag.
all of the shows that I've done with the Hasmark authors, I tag Hasmark in it.
Yeah.
I hashtag Hasmark in it. Why? Because I want the juice that you guys have generated.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. It's been phenomenal, Caren. I absolutely love what you've shared with us.
My
It's-
pleasure.
Yeah, I agree, Tom. It is
A
a
lot of
great
great
info that's been
information.
shared today.
Thank
So
you.
we thank you so much for your time. Like you said, is you gave us your information for everybody to contact, and you can always contact any one of us, and we're happy to connect you. If anyone, I know Dave put the link in the chat window, and if
Right.
after the recording you guys didn't get it, please reach out. We're happy to share it again with you
And
guys.
Judy, you'll share the link to Calling All Authors with you have a specific link for you guys.
Correct.
You will
We have a
share that.
specific
That will be
Yes.
great as
Talita
well.
will
And
share
I'll
that.
send you the podcast link so that you can send it all out to everybody. It's free.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. That's how you end a show. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Caren, so much
Very
for your
welcome.
time. We appreciate it more than you know.
Thank
Okay. Everybody have a great day. Thanks
Bye,
for
everyone.
today.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
now.
Bye.
You're very welcome. Bye, everyone.